Hello! This story is part of a series titled Coming to America. In my story, Walking the Bistjar's Fand, I shared coming across 3 Russian pre-revolution banknotes. When it came to cloak and dagger type of activities, the group my friends feared most, even more than Iran's secret police, the Savak, was Russia's KGB. Stories about KGB torture techniques were epic. So envision a 16-year-old with 3 pre-revolution banknotes in his carry-on luggage, a layover in Russia, and a man boarding the plane in a tan overcoat and fedora who was undoubtedly a KGB agent. Welcome to Storytime with Kumars. My name is Kayo Jijina, and this is my story titled Layover in Moscow. I hope you enjoy it. Journal entry, May 22nd, 1976. This may be the last entry I make in Iran. This depends on whether we return from America or not. Today, I said goodbye to Setrag, Mr. Han, Jafar, Eric, and Lisa. I am sad to be leaving this place and the people I've come to know. Right now, the whole house is quiet. The only noise is the sound of my pen writing. Mom, Dad, brother, sister, and I boarded the shuttle bus with Uncle and the crew of the Air India flight traveling from Iran's Mehrabad Airport to England's Heathrow Airport. Dad's brother, Nariman Jijina, or Nari Uncle, had made the necessary arrangements and booked free passage for the 5 of us, all the way to Los Angeles after changing planes in London. Nari Uncle worked for Air India as a mechanical engineer in charge of airplane maintenance. He had transferred from India to Iran to be closer to his brother. On occasion, Uncle would travel with the plane from Iran to Russia for maintenance needs and catch a return flight back. He got to know the Air India captain and crew quite well. As we got comfortable in our seats, the captain walked back and introduced himself. He asked Dad if we would like to ride up in first class. Not wanting to impose, Dad turned it down. Mom, brother, and I exchanged glances. We were aghast. Over 20 years of service with Iran Air, and not once had Dad been offered to fly first class. Dad turning down the captain's offer came as no surprise. The real shocker would have been if he had accepted. Nari Uncle waved to us from the tarmac as the plane taxied towards the runway for takeoff. The next stop was Moscow. Russia was Iran's neighbor to the north, a country shrouded in mystery. Even though the US had a presence in Iran, there was concern Russia might someday invade the country. The closest I came to Russia was when we visited the border city of Astara on the Caspian Sea. Dad drove us to the outskirts of town so we could see the barbed wire fence and Russian border guards. Our cousins Lale and Munir Brown had come from Italy and traveled with us in the Jeep from Tehran. At school, rumors amongst classmates were rampant about what it would mean if Russia were to invade Iran. Some students claimed there was a KGB agent in every block who kept an eye on you. They knew where you went and what you did. The KGB's torture methods were reported to be far more ruthless than Iran's Savak. Young people our age had been abducted in the middle of the night and never seen again because they expressed an interest in Western values and freedom. A Canadian friend who had visited the country said Russians loved Wrigley's chewing gum and Levi jeans. He had traded gum for Russian medals and emblems with the hammer and sickle engraved on it. We were in awe when he pulled the contraband items out of his pocket for show and tell. As we reached cruising altitude, I settled back into my seat and took my eye off the window. The sound of the jet engines and the vibration of the aircraft gliding through the thin atmosphere had a cradling effect. Its lullaby helped me to relax. A lot had happened in the passing weeks, and I needed some time to digest it all, to check in with myself. I missed my Iran Zamin friends. At some point, I was awakened by an announcement on the overhead.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We are beginning our descent into Moscow. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelt.
Oh shoot, I had better stick my book of coins in the bottom of my bag in case they decide to check our luggage, and pull the Wrigley's spearmint gum out as extra insurance. Before departing Tehran, I had stopped by my favorite street vendor and bought 3 packs of Wrigley's spearmint gum. Could trade someone for a pin or a badge. Or a worst case scenario, if they decided to haul me away, I could possibly use it as a bribe. The plane safely landed on the tarmac and taxied for a few minutes before coming to a stop and turning the engines off. The captain came on the speaker and asked us to remain in our seats. A stair truck would soon be approaching and the doors would be opened. As I looked out my window, we were a good distance away from the main terminal, with no other planes in sight. A military truck approached and came to a stop. 4 soldiers hopped out carrying automatic weapons. They surrounded the plane. Their weapons were cradled with their finger on the trigger and a supporting hand around the barrel. The soldiers looked to be of European descent, with blonde hair and pale skin. That is not what I had expected. I thought they would look more like me, with dark hair and olive skin. I worried about my coin collection in the bag. It contained Russian coins Uncle had given to me, and 3 pre-Bolshevik Revolution banknotes from the time of the Russian Tsars. One banknote had the image of Catherine and the other of Peter the Great. I panicked as the mind created what-if scenarios. What if they wanted to know where I got the banknotes from? What if they were offended by the contraband I was carrying? What if, what if, what if? I shoved my carry-on bag further underneath the seat, hoping it might not attract any undue attention. A single stair truck approached. I heard a soft thump as it made contact with the outside frame. The operator of the truck walked up the stairs and opened the door. The inrush of fresh air told me the cabin air had grown stale and stagnant from having the engines turned off. I made a conscious effort to breathe. A second van pulled up alongside the plane. 3 heavy-set women in their mid-30s got out of the van. They gathered up a bucket filled with supplies and 2 white canvas sacks, large enough to fit a body inside. I knew if they had come to get me, there was nothing Dad could do. The women boarded the plane, and the soldiers remained outside. I was glad I had a window seat. It was my eye to the world. What a relief when I noticed they were cleaning the plane, mainly the galley and the fore and aft toilets. After they were done, they left. About 10 minutes later, a shuttle bus approached the plane. A man dressed in a beige overcoat and a black fedora made his way up the stairs. He had a Dick Tracy look to him. My guess, he was KGB. After boarding the plane, he looked around. His eyes caught mine. I immediately looked down. Through my peripheral vision, I saw him walking towards me. I strained to shove my carry-on bag even further underneath the seat in front of me. I had a feeling this was the end of the line for me. Soon they would be hauling me away, off the plane, and it would all be over. All because I had brought my coin collection with me, instead of leaving it behind as Mom and Dad had suggested. Dad could have shipped it when he returned to Iran. Why didn't I listen to them? The would-be KGB agent in the overcoat walked past me. A few rows down, he removed his jacket and hat, placed it in the overhead bin, and sat down. Having someone watch you from behind was far worse than being hauled away. A few minutes later, the door was shut. The stair truck pulled away from the plane and the soldiers got back in their truck. The captain walked from the cockpit back to where we were sitting and looked at me.
Would you like to come up and ride in the cockpit for takeoff?
Not knowing what to say, I looked at Dad.
Go ahead, son.
I was shocked. Thank you, Dad. As I followed the captain to the cockpit, it felt like I was leaving a world of would-be assassins and agents behind, and I knew I had one more person to thank. Thank you, Nari Uncle.